Welcome back to the newest episode of By The Wayside. I, of course, am your host, Jordan Middlebrook. On today's episode, I speak with cartoonist Shawn Daley. I introduce a new segment to the whole show, and of course, there's always an Omar Recommends, so stick around. Don't go anywhere. This is my power pose, and this is how I should really start every single episode of By The Wayside. I'm not going to, though. I have to admit something again on the last episode when I was with guest Allison Danger. I talked about how sometimes you record an episode out of order. You know, one day I'll record an episode or I'll record a segment, an interview with a guest, and then another day I'll record my intro or the Omar Recommends or something silly like that. Case in point is the cut on my head. It's still here. I had interviewed Shawn Daley on this episode a little while ago, so now I'm kind of getting to do all the other stuff around the Shawn Daley interview. I bring that up because I realize when we go to watch the Shawn Daley interview right after this opening segment, I'm wearing a different shirt. I honestly thought I was wearing this shirt. It was just a dumb moment on my part, and that's what I get for not paying attention. Of course, I'm your host, Jordan Middlebrook, on this episode and every single episode of By The Wayside. And this show has a mission statement, and that mission statement is to introduce you to creative people. I've interviewed comic book artists, comic book writers, comic book creators in general, authors, podcasters, small business owners, playwrights. That was a fun one. You really should go and see and find that one. That was a really fun one. Have you ever seen the play Come From Away? For a second there, I thought these were my glasses, and I was like, how unprofessional would it be if I had my glasses sitting here? But let's get right into my opening here, as I like to do on every single episode of By The Wayside after the opening credits. Thank you, Parker, very much. I had this really cool idea. I was going to do something about bridges in the opening, and then I'm like, no one wants to hear about bridges. Then again, nobody wants to hear me ramble on. I used a random topic generator for today's episode, and it gave me the topic to explore. You ready for this one? The impact of social media on mental health. Do I look like the kind of guy that wants to talk about the impact of social media on mental health? The answer? No. No. Here on every episode of By The Wayside, we like to focus on more positive things. We like to focus on things that really make us laugh, maybe make us cry. Oh, maybe that is the mental... What did I say? The impact of social media on mental health and all the crying. How many times have you cried while scrolling social media? Probably more than once, actually. I have just randomly generated a list of topics to talk about and my opinions that pertain to them in a new segment called, I'm going to throw this logo up here. You ready? Judge, Jury, Jordan. This is my new segment. We have the Omar Recommends. I've added a new segment called Judge, Jury, Jordan. How exciting is that? You're probably watching the screen right now being like, nobody cares. Guess what? It's my show. You have to sit there and watch. Yeah, you have to. You ready for this? I'm going to throw out a single word, and I'm going to give you my opinions, comments. I'm going to judge it, and I will be the jury of everything in regards to it. You ready? Marionettes. Creepy. That's a good one. That's funny. Cheese. It's hard milk. Hard pass. This is so much fun. I wish people would ask me this stuff in real life. Ostriches. They're just fake birds. And they're just the spies of dinosaurs because they're gigantic birds. They're dinosaurs pretending to be birds. I was passed out. That was so funny. Stadiums. We know what stadiums are, right? They're open air arenas. I'm crying. It's so funny. Stadiums are actually an ancient Greek unit of measure. So let's bring that back. So a stadium is roughly 185 meters, which is what? I did not do the math. 185 meters is a kilometer and a bit. 2 kilometers? Roughly 2 kilometers? Stadiums. I live a stadium away from Wayside Comics and Cocktails in Newmarket, Ontario. This is, in fact, not a true statement. You'll never know where I live. Oh, that's it. That's all for this. I'm like, tears are down my face. That is all for this new segment, Judge, Jury, Jordan. Of course, I'm your host, Jordan Millbrook. I don't want you to go anywhere because today's episode is lots of fun, just like every single other episode of By The Wayside. Right after this, I'm going to be speaking with cartoonist Shawn Daley. I'm going to be wearing a different shirt. We're going to be sitting right here. Like, everything was all planned out. Don't go anywhere. We got lots more coming up on this episode. Welcome back to this episode of By The Wayside. Of course, with me on today's episode, if you were watching in the beginning, I had mentioned that I am with cartoonist Shawn Daley. Shawn is with me. Shawn, thank you very much for taking the time speaking with me.
Yeah, no, you're welcome. Thanks for having me on.
I know that this is something it's been an ongoing thing where we're trying to get together to talk, and I appreciate the time. I really do.
Anytime, man.
Well, let's get right into it because I'd hate to take up your time, even though we've spoken about doing this
Sure.
for so many years.
Of course, yeah.
Years, I guess. I've only been doing the show for a year.
That works.
Your work is very detailed, and you use techniques that aren't commonplace. What inspired that choice?
That's interesting. To be honest, like, I don't have any idea of like what commonplace, I guess, it is, because I'm just using the techniques that I would see and that I would like when I was reading comics. But I was reading a lot of, I guess, like European cartoonists, and a lot of modern Western cartoonists who borrowed from, European cartooning styles. Guys like Jeff Lemire and Matt Kint, who were painting in watercolor.
Yeah.
And had very expressive line work and an almost improvisational style.
Interesting.
To their work. Yeah. I really, when I'm sitting down and inking my pencils, I hate following the lines and trying to be as precise as possible and using very, I guess, precise techniques. I just want to feel what I'm doing more than concentrating on it. And so I think that tends to lead to maybe somewhat, like I was saying, more improvisational feelings. So all of the techniques I'm using is just, you see what other people are doing and it's like, okay, I like the way that looks.
Yeah.
And I think the more challenging point is asking yourself why you like that.
Ooh.
Like, what about these techniques am I so drawn to? And that's a very different question.
That's a deeper question.
Yeah, it's a little, that one's hard for me to answer.
Yeah.
But yeah, basically reading comics, I saw things that I liked and I was like, I want to try this. And not just try it, but understand it a little bit.
Interesting.
And yeah, that leads to trying new things and like developing new ideas and techniques. And but I'm very like firmly of the mindset that everything has been done before. Every technique you see, that has been mastered and perfected. And it's really not about trying to replicate that perfectly. It's more about trying to understand it and then put your own spin on it.
What an interesting way to describe how you do your work.
Yeah.
I think the idea, I had said to Dwayne Murray, who I did interview today.
Yes. Yeah.
Two totally separate episodes, but it just happened to work out really well. But he had talked about putting himself into the work that he does, whether it's acting or whether it's writing.
Mm-hmm.
And if you are self-aware enough to really put yourself into your artwork, I think it makes it that much better. I mean, I know a little bit about a piece of art that I could draw, like Ghost Rider with my Sharpie.
Sure.
And you would know it's mine just because it's terrible and it's Ghost Rider.
Okay, fair.
But I think what's nice is that you, as the artist, can identify that this is your work because your heart is into it.
You have to. And like what Dwayne said, like, that's bang on. Like, if you're not putting yourself into the work that you're doing, it just won't be your work.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it just won't be. It'll look different, it'll read different, it'll feel different. And yeah, you have to kind of be putting as much of yourself as you can, and as much of yourself as you're comfortable kind of putting into your work. But yeah, that's also very challenging.
They always say, if you like what you do, you never work a day in your life. So it's really important, especially if you're doing something that can potentially be as tedious as pounding out pages of artwork.
Yeah.
You actually have to like it.
For sure, yeah. And even then, it will feel like work. That's a thing that like I've heard before, and like some people are like, yeah, and there is truth to that.
Yeah.
To where like when I wake up and I work on comics, it's like I'm having so much fun. I'm listening to music. I'm going at my own pace. It is work, but a different type of work.
Yeah. It's like, if you could maybe compare it to something like a person who is an outdoor worker who works in the hot sun all day, cuts grass, does landscaping or building like homes and stuff like that. And then you have someone who also works in an office per se.
Sure.
They both come home from work very tired, but it's just two different,
Yeah.
it's two different work frames. No, I can't even think of the right word. It's just two different levels of work. It's still work. It's just two different kinds of work.
Yeah,
and I get that 100%. As an outdoor worker, I get that 100%.
Yes, yeah.
We were just talking about all the work that you do in the pages about how it could be work. Well, I mean, it is work. It's just a different type of work.
Mm-hmm.
And I had said to you off camera, you probably get this question all the time, but it's my show. I ask what I want. How long does it take to finish a single page?
You're looking at a full day of work.
Like 8 hours, 9 hours? Like,
right. So that's the big difference is for like a black and white page, probably between 2 and 4 hours to ink.
Yeah.
Or sorry, to pencil. And then maybe 2 to 3 hours to ink. So you're looking at 7 to 8 hours right there.
That's a rough one.
It can take a little while. But depending on the subject matter of the page, that 8 hours could theoretically become like 6 if you're and then to paint it 2 hours is my timer that I set.
It is definitely a job.
Yeah,
a job that you love, of course. A job that you love, but it is definitely a job.
You might be working 10 hours a day on one page.
Speaking of how you go from penciling to inking to painting, analog work itself isn't very forgiving when it comes to the finished product.
That's true.
With the coloring that you do in terms of painting, do you have a way to quote unquote fix any mistakes?
It's a hard one to answer.
Start again.
Yeah, I've done that. I've had to rip up pages and start from scratch, but that's not a bad thing because you learn when you do that, right? Like every mistake is just this has also been said a million times, but it's just a learning opportunity, right? And so when I look at fixing mistakes, I'm more looking at using corrective techniques to reiterate ideas.
Interesting.
So
you're putting a positive spin on something that on a negative proposition.
Totally, yes. And I say that because when you have to correct mistakes without Control-Z just over and over again,
yes.
When you actually have to go in and correct things, you learn new techniques. You will learn how to mix paint colors that cover up your mistakes. You will learn how to use whiteout in a way that you wouldn't,
that no one's ever figured out before.
Totally, yeah. Weird stuff like that. When you're using whiteout on a piece of paper that you plan on painting afterwards, you have to understand that once you've applied whiteout, that the paper doesn't absorb paint anymore. The paint sits on top of that and dries funny. You have to keep all this stuff into account and then figure out ways how to get around that.
Yeah.
So you end up like learning brand new techniques by correcting your mistakes. And that can lead to really interesting finished products, I guess.
Have you considered writing a book on like painting as the final form?
I would love to. I have now.
Yeah?
Yeah, now that you've mentioned it, now it's like, you know what?
I get residuals off of that. It's my idea.
We'll talk. Yeah. We'll talk.
Stick around because we got lots more with Shawn Daley right after this.
This is By The Wayside, and we'll be right back.
And we're back, of course, with cartoonist Shawn Daley. Shawn, I kickstarted this, and not to not to brag that I helped you along. I'm a fan of the Bridge Builders Creed.
Thank you.
Can you tell me about that work?
Yeah, it was. I wrote it right after I did my first book, which was Terracool Collectors, and it came from a place of just being terrified because Terracool was somewhat successful for my very first book, and I was really just horrified that I would have to replicate success.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
It's just like, I have to do this all over again. Oh my God. And that became the story about an old man who felt like he had peaked and he would never do anything great again. And he had to deal with that. He was a bridge builder who would travel from city to city or town to town, rebuilding all the bridges he made when he was younger after a war destroyed them. Yeah, it was just a way for me to deal with my anxiety and my
Interesting.
anxious feelings about the very small amount of success I had back then,
Yeah.
which was a huge amount, starting from nothing.
Yeah.
I think the Kickstarter for Terra Quill funded for like $7,000 Canadian, and the most I'd ever made in comics was like $100. So I was like, oh my God, this is terrifying. But that's basically where it came from, was just fear.
Well, it's funny because you and I had spoken right before about how you putting yourself into comics is, or like into your work is really important, and you weren't just the artist
Yeah.
on the Bridge Builders Creed, you were also the writer.
Mm-hmm.
So it's interesting. Was there a catharsis to writing it, like very therapeutic? Did you find that as you were writing it or after you wrote it, that there was a reconciliation of your feelings?
Big time, yeah. And that's with everything. I think that I personally that I work on is everything that I write is basically the way I feel about a certain aspect of my life, or the city I live in, or the world, or the galaxy. Like, it all turns into comics.
You're heavily influenced by the world around you.
Yeah, for sure. It all gets into the story or the character somehow, because it's just a way of dealing with reality, is like telling these stories. And so yeah, there was a lot of catharsis for like Bridge Builders when it was done, but I didn't finish writing it until I finished writing it in like 2017 or something, and I didn't finish the artwork until 2021.
Well, that goes back to how long does it take to do a page?
So you know what? Yeah, 100%. That was a big factor. It was also Dwayne and I started working on Better Place, and I released a book called Samurai Grandpa, and a whole bunch of other publishing things kind of happened at that point in time, so I had to put it on the back burner. But I was also unsure that I wanted to finish it. Like, I didn't think I was going to for a little while.
Seems like there's a lot of anxiety as you worked on the project itself.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, there was so much. Yeah, and
you'll get my bill for therapy after this.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
It's expensive. It's very expensive. It was it was a very cool experience, but that's comics. You put everything that you kind of have and feel into telling these stories.
It's important.
It is therapy, actually. Comics are therapy.
Not just I'm not a comic book creator, but I'm a comic book reader.
Right.
And there are times when I have read comics and I've been like, wow,
that's the best.
Yeah, I just got a chill thinking about one of my favorite moments.
Cool.
And I'll tell you what it is.
Sure.
It's the very ending of Do a Power Bomb.
Okay,
And it was recommended by Omar, shop owner here at Wayside Comics and Cocktails. And he said, dude, that last page is going to get you. And I was like, it's not going to get me. I texted him the moment I read it, and I was bawling my eyes out.
Yeah.
If anyone wants to check it, that's definitely a Jordan recommends, is Do a Power Bomb.
Yeah.
It's awesome. I love it. I think it's absolutely great.
It's a perfect book, and not just for wrestling fans. It's just perfect for comic fans. Like, it is so
If I could give it a movie rating, it's a 5 out of 5.
Sure,
it's excellent. Shawn, we were talking about the Bridge Builders Creed, but there's another one of your works. I have to read the title because I had the title wrong. The 7 Rays of the Sun.
That's it.
Thank you very much.
Yes, thanks.
It draws inspiration from pop culture. Was that a conscious choice?
No, not at all. Because I'm not into pop culture one single bit. Or maybe, no, I'm not. I was going to be like, oh, are there examples? I like Love Island. Is that pop culture? And I can't believe I just admitted that. But
it's going to be on the internet and on TV. I'm going to create Instagram Reels. I'm going to create YouTube Shorts and TikToks. And it's going to be all over the world.
I stand by it. I stand by what I just said. When you spend all day creating, sometimes you need to just watch things burn down.
I get it.
And that's reality television. And there's something comforting about that.
Awesome.
But yeah, I'm not really like a huge pop culture guy. If any bits of pop culture snuck in, it was a complete coincidence.
It was all by accident, eh?
All by
Happy accidents.
I'll take it.
All right, Shawn. So then, this last question, now that you've told me that you're not a pop culture guy, I don't even know if this question's going to matter. Shawn, on a side note of pop culture / Pokemon.
Okay. All right.
Do you have a favorite, and is it Bulbasaur?
I do, and it's not. Bulbasaur is great. I have no problem. I don't think I've ever. Oh, I have picked Bulbasaur once or twice. Charmeleon.
Charmeleon.
Yeah, I love Charmeleon.
You didn't even go with first evolution of Charmander.
No. I'm not. No. Too easy. Charmeleon. First of all, I loved chameleons as a kid, and I still do. I think they're my favorite animal. And to have a chameleon Pokemon back then, when I was like 12 playing for the first time, mind blowing. There was a point where I just wanted to keep my Charmeleon and not even bother with Charizard. It's like, why? Like, cool wings, fire, like whatever. Charmeleon is awesome, and Charmeleon is kind of this very deep red, which is a little different than the orange of Charmander and Charizard. So it stood out a little bit to me as like an interesting choice. And in the anime, he was just such a mean dude, you know. Like he would just. He had no problem just burning Ash whenever.
Would you say that there was a little bit of you in Charmeleon?
Maybe a little when I was a kid.
You identified.
I've grown out of my Charmeleon phase. I'm more of the other chameleon Pokemon, Kecleon, I think is its name.
Okay, well, you
There's
lost
a lot.
me. You lost
There's
me
like 1,000
completely.
Pokemon, yeah.
Since you didn't ask, my favorite Pokemon is Gyarados.
Okay, excellent.
And Mewtwo.
You
know, human engineered, half Pokemon, half, I don't know what else he is. He's not a real Pokemon.
He's a science experiment, but all great choices. All Gen 1, I see.
Yeah, I'm an old school guy. I appreciate it. Shawn, thank you very much for taking the time speaking with me today on today's episode of By the Wayside. I look forward to reading more of your work.
Thank you.
And that's it.
My pleasure. Thank you so much for having me. It was really nice to finally get a chance.
I agree 100%, Shawn.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Don't go anywhere. We got lots more in this episode. I said don't go anywhere, so don't go anywhere. Now it's time for everyone's favorite segment, Omar Recommends. Omar Sayer, owner, purveyor of Wayside Comics and Cocktails. Take it away.
Hey everybody, today I'm going to do, for No More Recommends, I'm going to be recommending Absolute Batman. Now, this is kind of a proxy to recommend all the other Absolute series as well, but I'm going to be focusing on Absolute Batman. This book revitalized the comic industry about a year ago. It takes a character you know and love, takes Batman, and recontextualizes him for, I think, modern readers, but just in general as well. Essentially, what is Batman? It takes the core values of that and it puts a new spin on them. So, like, who is Batman if he doesn't have the wealth, if he doesn't have those things that we associate with the Batman we know and love? That's what this looks at. So in the world of like Absolute Batman, Bruce Wayne is not a rich kid. He's actually poor. He's a general worker. The Joker is more of like your rich person in this world. But yeah, it takes stories that we know and love and reframes them in a way for new readers to digest. And readers have been absolutely loving this series. And it really has like kicked the standard lineup of DC books in their butt a little bit and shown what we could be doing with characters. It's really hard to tell stories sometimes with characters that have been around for so long when you're going to like 1,000 issues in or something like that, where you have so much history and so much backstory. And again, endings matter and these characters don't really have endings. To be able to restart that and reframe these characters and really give them a good kick to make the industry know where the heart of these characters is, I think that's really important, and that's what this does so well. Batman and Wonder Woman are actually my two favorites from the launch. There's also Superman. The three have just come out in trade paperback. Highly recommend getting your hands on these. See what all the fuss is about. These are the best-selling books that we currently have on the stands, and they've been consistently doing that, and there's a reason for that. So definitely check out Absolute Batman. The art's great. The writing is phenomenal. And take a new look at characters you know and love. And yeah, we will catch you guys by the wayside. Have a great day.
Thank you very much, Omar. Thankfully, you are always around to give those amazing recommends. Stick around. We got lots more on this episode, so don't go anywhere. What? Oh, it's the ending of the episode after this, so not lots, but what? What did I do wrong? It's my show. I'll do what I want. I got so excited about Shawn Daley being on the show and talking about all of his amazing work, how he puts himself into his work, and of course, his favorite Pokemon we talked about. You've seen the show. I don't have to explain it anymore. We all know that my favorite Pokemon, of course, is Mewtwo. We all know that Gyarados is my favorite. I'm with Michelangelo Frank, and I have to ask him that one simple question. Michelangelo, who's your favorite Pokemon?
I got to go with Squirtle.
What is it? What is it about Squirtle? That was too close. What is it about Squirtle that you like?
I'm not big on the Pokemon, but he's one of the original ones, and he's like the most front forward. It's not Charizard, which is overdone. It's not Pikachu. Squirtle's just sort of a neutral, fun thing.
Thanks, Michelangelo. I really appreciate that. Stick around. Who's your favorite Pokemon?
Let's say Charizard.
It's good. Charizard, Squirtle, Blastoise. We almost nailed every single character. All right, don't go anywhere. Don't go
All the
anywhere.
classics. Anyway, the true classics.
The true classics. Not one person said Pikachu. Okay, goodbye.
Yeah.
I am going to be doing one thing that I absolutely never do, and I'm probably not allowed to do, is I'm behind the bar here at Wayside Comics and Cocktails. I wanted to just kind of throw it out there. I always mention Wayside Comics and Cocktails to people. I record the show here outside of Wayside Comics and Cocktails. I also frequent this place because the community here is absolutely amazing. Mumble mouth here today. But you can get specialty cocktails here at Wayside Comics and Cocktails. You can get comic books, you can get cocktails. It's embedded in the name. I just want to throw that out there to remind you that there is so much to Wayside Comics and Cocktails, and I encourage you to come down to Newmarket, Ontario, and check it out. Speak to Omar. He does the Omar Recommends. He is an integral part. He is the owner, purveyor of Wayside Comics and Cocktails. He is an integral part of every episode of By The Wayside. So I'm standing here in his position, in his spot, letting you know, come and visit. Get a personalized Omar Recommends, and tell him Jordan sent you. And he might kick you out. No, I'm just kidding. He's essentially the co-host of the show. I want to thank my guests, of course, Shawn Daley. I want to thank Omar again for doing his Omar Recommends, allowing me to record my show here at Wayside Comics and Cocktails. Have you been counting how many times I've been saying Wayside Comics and Cocktails in today's episode? When did I do that? No, Jordan, no. Also, oh yeah, let's, what side? This side here. Bam! These are all the social media places that you can find the television show that you are watching right now, or the internet show that you are watching right now on Rogers TV, or on YouTube, or at our website, waysideshow.com. This is all the social medias, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, TikTok. I don't know if TikTok's on there. We have a TikTok channel. I don't know if it's up here, though. Like, comment, support, follow, share. Tell your friends, tell your foes, tell your government officials. Tell that guy that just walked across Main Street about Wayside. Hold on, I'm going to go tell him right now. Hold on a second. Don't go anywhere. I'm going to tell him, hey, you got to check out waysideshow.com. Oh, see that. Hey, check out waysideshow.com. He looked at me weird. I'm going to close the door. I'm going to lock it. Now nobody can come in and nobody can interrupt every episode of By The Wayside. Hi, I'm back. That was fun. Don't forget to like, follow, subscribe. Your support means the absolute world to me. And it reminds me and it reminds all the people that their hard work that goes into the show, that it means something. And you are watching and you are sharing. I, of course, am your host, Jordan Middlebrook. I'm all out of breath from running all the way over to the door. I'm your host, Jordan Middlebrook. I thank you very much for watching me be stupid. Watch the amazing guests here on every episode of By The Wayside. And I will catch you by the wayside. Yes. I'm going to go yell out aside again. Okay. Waysideshow.com.